Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today we're bringing you our worst 11 of the season from across Europe's top 5 leagues. Goalkeeper, Roman Burki. Somebody from Dortmund's backline had to make our XI, and we've gone for Roman Burki. 5 Bundesliga teams have allowed fewer goals in the Schwarz-Gelben this year, and at a rate of 1.4 conceded per match, the club is on track to let in 46 by the season's end, their second worst record since 2008. Burki bears the blame for that in large part, having allowed 26 goals in his 16 appearances to date, meaning he lets in 1.6 goals a match, while alternate stopper Marvin Hitz lets just 1.1 past him. And while that difference could be down to playing in tougher fixtures, Burki's 26 have come from under 21 expected goals, meaning an average keeper would have been predicted to save 5 more than him, ranking him 171st of the 184 stoppers to have appeared in Europe's top 5 leagues in 2020-21. For a side meant to be competing at the highest level, that's simply not good enough. And it's shocking that Burki's inconsistency has been tolerated for so long, with over 170 league appearances for Dortmund. If Marco Rose wants a brighter 2022, perhaps he should ditch the Swiss for someone without chocolate wrists. Defence, Matt Doherty. Tottenham's season started with such promise. Kane and Son combined for 21 goal involvements in their first 5 league fixtures, and the backline was expected to be tighter after the club shelled out £53 million on Joe Rodon, Sergio Reguilon and Matt Doherty, who arrived from Wolves. The Irishman excelled in 2019-20, grabbing 7 goals and assists as the Midlands side came 7th. And with Serge Aurier benched, many fans dreamt of a surge towards the summit of the league. As it turns out, Aurier has started 17 league matches to Doherty's 12, and the 29-year-old has struggled to maintain his attacking threat as a conventional right-back, instead of on the flank in a back 5. His expected goals and assists per 90 have plummeted from 0.2 to 0.08, while he's passing forward and into the final third less than he did at Wolves. And there's been no counterbalancing uptick in defensive work either, with fewer progression regains than in the 2 previous seasons at 2.5, a fraction of the 5.6 that Aurier manages. Doherty's sole use has been winning aerial duels, and for £15 million at his age, that's simply not good enough. Defence, Matija Nastasic. Manchester City's Young Player of the Year in 2013 and a title winner 12 months later, it's been a steep drop for Matija Nastasic, finishing bottom of the Bundesliga with Schalke this season. At the time of writing, the Gelsenkirchen side are conceding 2.5 goals a match. And while no one player is entirely to blame, Nastasic's leadership role makes him more responsible than youngsters like Liverpool new boy Ozan Kabak or Finnish teen Malik Shaw. He's also not working hard enough. Tackles and interceptions aren't everything, but Nastasic makes just 1.9 a game. That's the 4th lowest in the squad, while Shaw wins the ball 5 times a match, and even Shkodran Mustafi manages 3. When he does attempt a challenge, he gets it right only 18% of the time. And he records the fewest pressures at the club too, while his distribution fails to add value either, with just 1.5 progressive passes per 90, placing him second bottom among Schalke's outfield players. When you draft in 2 Arsenal defenders in January, you know you're in trouble. And it's telling that even in this miserable side, Nastasic has not been a guaranteed starter, playing just 45% of the available minutes. Once tipped for greatness, he's destined for the second tier at just 28. Defence, Abdou Diallo. Paris Saint-Germain are enduring one of the most up-and-down campaigns in their recent history. Having sacked Thomas Tuchel, they have seen their former coach revolutionise Chelsea, while domestically, Maurizio Pochettino has failed to steady the ship. Currently sitting second in a 1-team league as the Parisians hope to desperately overhaul Lille in the last 4 weeks of the campaign. At the time of writing, the capital club have conceded 4 goals more than Les Dough, and that's largely a function of silly red cards, with 6 in Ligue 1 so far. Neymar has had 2 of them, but at least he's worth the trouble, which is more than can be said for Abdou Diallo, who's also received his marching orders twice. The Frenchman has truly gone off the boil this season, winning possession just 2.7 times a game, compared to 3.6 for rival fullback Layvin Kurzawa, making 0.1 key passes a game, the lowest in the squad, and hitting his worst pressure and dribble numbers in the last 4 years. Brought in for £29 million in 2019, Diallo has failed to nail down a spot at centre-back or on the flank. Disappointing all around. Left wing, Marco Asensio. If you're going to be a one-man team, that man needs to be brilliant. And as good as Benzema has been this year, just a little help could have seen Real Madrid run away with the title. The Frenchman has had a hand in half of Los Blancos' league goals, but shockingly, the second highest scorer in the squad is Casemiro, with Eden Hazard, Vinicius and Asensio all trailing. We've spoken enough about Hazard, so today we're focusing on Asensio, the third most used attacker at the club. In 1600 minutes, Asensio has managed just 6 goal involvements, and while that's the same as Vinicius Jr., his underlying performances have been worse, with 0.36 expected goals per game to the Brazilian's 0.6. He also lacks the younger player's trickery and work rate, completing 1.8 dribbles a game compared to 3.2 for the former Flamengo man, and ranking in the bottom 4% of all wingers in Europe for pressures per game, while Vinicius remarkably is in the top 9%. He may have suffered serious injuries in the past, but Asensio is now 25, and he faces competition at national level from Fati, Ferran Torres, Oyarzabal and Dani Olmo. He can't afford another campaign like this one. Midfield, Sander Berge. With Sheffield United's relegation confirmed, the safe Premier League sides are already considering who to pluck from the sinking ship, and the consensus is clear: Sander Berge is the best asset. The Norwegian joined just 18 months ago and is undoubtedly talented, but signing him is a gamble on his ability, not recognition of his output, as the youngster has frankly endured an underwhelming campaign with the Blades. In a side averaging 43% possession, you'd expect some hefty defensive numbers, but Berge seems to have checked out of his off-ball duties, making just 2.1 tackles and interceptions a game this year, less than we see from Nicola Pepe or Gareth Bale. His highly rated passing is not in evidence either, ranking 7th among United players for balls into the final third and 8th for progressive passes. Not only that, his pressures, aerial wins and ball recoveries have all dropped, with only 1.6 dribbles a game remaining above average. This isn't to say he can thrive in a better side, but it's hard to argue that Berge deserves a fee anywhere near the £21 million that Sheffield United paid for him. Perhaps a year in the Championship would help his development. Midfield, Koke. Atletico Madrid may still have a solid shot at the title, but that just means that some of their stars have got away with poor performances, especially since Christmas. Before December, the Rojiblancos averaged 2.5 points a game, but that's down to 2 since, while the attackers declined from 1.6 expected goals a match to 1.4, and the defence is giving up more chances too, going from 0.8 expected goals allowed per 90 to a substantial 1. With Thomas Partey gone, Sol Niguez often deputising at left back, and Kondogbia and Torreira failing to shine, Koke has been the key man in the engine room, and he's not really risen to the challenge. The Spaniard used to be a major goal threat, twice hitting 19 league contributions in a single campaign, but this year has just 3, with fewer shots and chances created per match than in any previous season. He still wins the ball a reasonable amount, 3.4 times a game, but he's pressing less than before, and he's completing under a dribble per appearance. Perhaps a sign that at 29, he's lost a step of pace. Once among Spain's brightest stars, Koke is starting to look like a competent but unexciting workhorse. And if Atleti don't win the title, they may regret their over-reliance on him. Right wing, Willian. You may be expecting Aubameyang to make our list, but the Gabonese has quietly sneaked into double figures for goal involvements this season. And with 3 goals in 1200 minutes before Christmas, and 7 in 900 minutes since, it does seem that the team's lack of creativity was more of a problem than Oba himself. Willian, on the other hand, has been a clear disaster, netting a reported 220k a week while contributing just 5 goal involvements in 22 games at the time of writing. Brought in to add pressing and creativity to the Gunners, the Brazilian has done neither, producing the same number of chances per game as Dani Ceballos and ranking 9th for pressures in the squad, almost dead level with Nicola Pepe. Somehow he's also dropped from 2 dribbles a match to 0.8. And he's among the most frequently dispossessed Arsenal players, losing the ball more often than Lacazette and Aubameyang. More depressingly, this is the first year of a 3-season contract that will last until he's 35, suggesting that no matter how bad he's been, there's worse to come from Willian. Cam, Felipe Coutinho. Felipe Coutinho returned to Barcelona last summer fresh from winning the treble, and though the Blaugrana's prospects were hardly bright, he must have been at least confident of getting game time. However, the Brazilian earned just 8 league starts and under 700 minutes at the Camp Nou this season before he was ruled out with a knee injury. It may seem unfair to attack the former Liverpool man given his fitness woes, but frankly, Barcelona have been far better without him. Up until he was sidelined, Barca took 1.8 points a game and scored 2.1 goals. But as soon as he went down in a 1-1 draw with Eibar in December, they embarked on a run of 12 wins in 13 games, taking 2.6 2.6 per match and netting 2.6 goals a game. And he wasn't a nailed-on starter even when fit, playing just a quarter of the minutes in the Champions League group stage, the same as Carles Aleñá, and a third of Trincão's allocation. Still a reigning champion of Europe, Coutinho has had to watch Braithwaite, Dembele, and even 18-year-old Alex Moriba take his place in the team. Subsequently, he's been linked with Everton. Forward, Anthony Martial. Man United fans might have had their grumbles about Champions League underperformance this year, but in general, the campaign has been better than expected. Continued brilliance from Bruno Fernandes and solid contributions from Cavani and Rashford have placed the side second. And with 1 or 2 acquisitions this summer, there's clear hope for progress from a steady, if unexciting team. Anthony Martial, though, has less cause for celebration. The Frenchman has just 4 league goals and 3 assists in 1,500 minutes at the time of writing, for a goal contribution every 211 minutes. And overall, has had fewer goal involvements per 90 than Juan Mata or Donny van der Beek this campaign. He's also taking fewer shots this year than last, despite Bruno's creativity, continuing a trend of under 3 attempts per match since his arrival in Manchester. And his own eye for a pass seems to have deteriorated too, with 1 key pass per 90 his lowest since he broke through at Monaco, and the same as Fred. With a horrible work rate which has seen him win possession less often this season than any United outfield player, Martial feels like a luxury player without luxury benefits. At 25, it might be time for the forward to move on. Forward, Roberto Firmino. 12 months ago, it was sacrilege to say Roberto Firmino should be sold, and to be honest, it's exceptionally harsh to put him in the worst team of the season. But the Brazilian's reputation has taken a nosedive in 2020-21, even in a year the whole Red squad disappointed, with their projected points tally at the season's end just 63, a massive 36-point plummet from the previous campaign. Firmino has been the least effective in the fabled front line, registering 11 goal involvements in 30 appearances. He's also managing just 2.6 shots a game, fewer than Jota, Mane, Salah, and even Oxlade-Chamberlain, while his creativity is drying up too, with 1.2 key passes per 90, the same as James Milner. Even his famed defensive effort is down, hitting new lows for tackles and interceptions, pressures, and dribbles over the last half-decade. A trend which paints the picture of a player with declining mobility. There's plenty left in Firmino, but at nearly 31, he may need a club to adapt to him, rather than the other way round. And given recent results, we're not sure that Liverpool can afford to be that patient. That's a wrap on our worst team of the season. Where do you agree and disagree? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel with notifications on, and we'll catch you next time.